Welcome to the very first podcast, Babyloss. For me, it's a dream which is coming through because in the world, many women are suffering with baby loss and they don't talk about it because people react sometimes hard, and it feels so uncomfortable. That's why I want to give all the women who have dealt with miscarriages and stillbirth a platform they can tell their story. And the first woman who is joining this podcast is Lisa. Lisa is mom of 11 children. She has 10 miscarriages and is mother of the stillborn Frankie, and which the English people say he was born sleeping. Lisa, welcome in the podcast, and thank you very much that you will be the first woman who helps me to put my mission international wide. I'm not native English speaking, so my English is not that perfect as yours, but well, we had this get to know each other call for 15 minutes and we understood each other perfectly. So welcome. And Saturday will be the 29th of November, will be the birthday of Frankie.
Thank you so much for having me as a guest on the podcast today. And it will indeed be his birthday. That was the day that he was born sleeping. I was 33 weeks pregnant when I lost him. And yeah, I don't have any living children. I'd had 6 early miscarriages before I had Frankie, and that was with my ex. And then I remarried in 2013. Found I was pregnant the following month, but Frankie, unfortunately, was stillborn on the 29th of November. I then went on to have another 4 early miscarriages with my second husband and got re-referred for investigations. And then in 2015, discovered that I had a rare condition called hyperfertility, which meant that I was overproducing all the hormones that we need to allow implantation for the babies to develop. And I had way too much of the hormones needed for that. And so my body was effectively attacking the embryos, thinking that they were a foreign object almost, wouldn't let them grow and develop, and I would lose them. And so by that time, I was almost 44. So we decided, no, we would stay as we were. And we don't have any living children.
How is this for you in daily life? One of the first questions many people ask, do you have any children?
Absolutely. And even today, I still get, asked that. I still, I go to events and so on in my line of work in cybersecurity. I meet people I hadn't, met before, and they'll often ask me about children. And I always didn't want to make other people to feel, uncomfortable. So I would sort of turn it around and try and say, oh, I don't have any, but I've got my dog Poppy, and Poppy keeps me really busy, and that's enough, and so on. And, I would try and just be as upbeat as I could. But then when I'm on my own, I would just crumble because I would feel that it's that sort of moment where I would catch my breath and I'd think to myself, shall I be authentic and actually say I've got, 11 children, but none of them are with me? Or shall I just try and sort of bat it away as quickly as possible so I don't make other people feel uncomfortable in the way I described? And, inevitably, I choose the latter, to just not to make other people to feel uncomfortable. But for me, it just makes me feel that I'm not being authentic, that I'm not sort of standing up and saying, actually, I do have, 11 and I've lost them all. They are all not with me today. I never got, to look after them. I never got to bring them up. I never got to see them grow, and develop into the, wonderful people that I know they would have been, had they lived.
Yeah. Well, what you tell, I had the same. I did it for a few weeks. If people asked, "Do you have children?" I said, "No, I don't."
Mm,
And then also, yes, no, just a little bit talking around it and don't really say. But then I thought, well, I afterwards I felt so horrible
mm-hmm.
because I was
Yep.
rejecting, is that the correct word? That day I was mother of three. So
Yep.
since then I decided I will always tell people I'm mother of three children. And
Mm-hmm.
I tell them I'm mom of the stillborn Tom and Tim and miscarriage daughter Jasmine. And well, actually at this moment, and I don't want to be offended or harsh, but it doesn't matter how people think, because if I don't tell people I'm mom of three, I feel so awful. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand what I
I
mean?
absolutely understand what you mean, and that's exactly how I feel as well. I can mask it to a point, and then when I'm on my own, I just think, oh God, it feels like I denied their existence.
Exactly.
Yeah, silly.
What
Yeah.
did I do? And why do I not tell people that I'm
Mm-hmm.
mom of 11 children in your case? And well,
Yeah.
since I started telling people, everyone who's asking, do you have any children? And say, yes, I have three children. They are in my heart. They are not here to look after. I'm a mom with empty arm, but
Mhm.
I really feel like a mom. And you also feel like a mom,
Yeah.
correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Definitely. And even today, yeah, with Frankie's 12th birthday coming up at the weekend, I almost feel like he's grown, with me throughout these 12 years. Um, I've gone on to do, a lot of great work in the cybersecurity industry. I keep a blog as well in Frankie's memory. And I wrote in that blog this weekend, just gone, for the first time in nearly 5 years. And it's not because I didn't want to. I've just been, we had the pandemic. Um, my work has been insanely busy. And then knowing I was coming, onto this podcast and I was going to be talking about him, I actually picked up my blog and I actually wrote in it for the first time in nearly 5 years, actually. And I am going to write the story of Frankie, the story of us, what happened. And it's going to be called Frankie's Legacy, Love, Loss, Grief, Recovery. And an analogy that I always, use to people as well is I feel like I'm part of a group or a club, and it's one that I never ever wanted ever to be in. I always thought I would be a mother. I never thought that there would be any other existence, for me. I wanted to be a mother so much. And to coin a line from the song Hotel California by the Eagles about this club, you can check out any time you like, but you can never leave.
yeah,
And that's what I feel about the last 5 years. It's like, yeah, I might have checked out for that 5 years because I was really busy with work. I was really busy with, a lot of other things that I was doing. I didn't write in Frankie's blog for that 5 years, so I effectively checked out. But here I am back again. I can never leave, and I never
no.
want to leave.
And then suddenly there was this Dutch woman who was doing an
Mm.
English podcast, Babyloss, and then you thought, oh, this is the moment.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
well, for you, as my birthday present to Frankie, I will put our story online on his birthday, because he needs this podium. He needs
Hmm.
to be there. Also,
Yeah,
the other 10 persons were carrying, but well, as they was much smaller, it's
yeah.
more. There's less awareness about, and Frankie was really a baby,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
really a baby.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, you can it's touch tangible, and miscarriage is. I also have feel that I have less contact with Jasmine, but Tom and Tim are around me all the time, and they're
Mm-hmm.
growing with me. I don't see
Yeah.
them as that little baby anymore, but they are
Yeah.
growing. They're next year they will be 20 and 19, but grown up, go to school, high school, whatever. Do you
Mm-hmm.
also think that Frankie, would be 12 on Saturday,
Yeah.
so tell me, what do you think he would have done when he was alive? So
Yeah.
it's nice to memorize, to have these memories, and to think about it, and to what is the English word if you are feeling dreaming something? You have
Mm-hmm.
this beautiful word
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. I mean, everybody is obviously an individual, and I would have loved him absolutely no matter what. But I do s- think about it sometimes in that I wonder if he would have been into science fiction the way me and his dad are. I wonder if he would have been into, Star Wars and Star Trek and Doctor Who and, all that stuff that we like. And I wonder what sort of music he would have liked. Would he have taken after his dad that likes very sort of more pop music, like the band Steps, for example, or would he have taken more after me? Would he love Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, Queen, heavy metal, that kind of thing? Um, but whatever he would be doing, whatever he would be listening to, whatever he would have liked, I would be there championing it, just 100% and just going, yeah, yeah, that's absolutely amazing and go for it. And whatever he wanted to do and, whatever he was interested in, I would absolutely nurture that 100% because I know exactly what it feels like to have that beaten out of you, to have people saying to you, can't believe you like that. That's absolutely rubbish. And you shouldn't do that. That's no good. This isn't great. That's not brilliant. Don't do this. Don't do that. I know exactly how that feels. And I would have not wanted that for him. I would have been championing it every step of the way, even if it was something that I personally can't stand. If
Yeah.
he loved it, I would nurture it to the absolute best of my ability.
Yeah. Hey, Lisa, I was wondering, people around you, your friends, and
Hmm.
do they know that Saturday is the birthday of Frankie?
Yeah, my closest friends do know. And I actually, when I wrote the new blog, I actually shared it on my LinkedIn on Saturday. And I don't share a lot. I share on my Facebook every year that it's Frankie's birthday. I don't share too much about it on my LinkedIn, but I shared that blog, and I had so many lovely comments and messages, of support from people in my network as well. And so I will be sharing this podcast on all my channels and
Wow.
platforms.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Because our children deserve this
yeah,
platform. They deserve to be around us because in our when we started to get to know each other in the pre audio,
mm,
we mentioned that they are still around us. We talk to them, and
yeah.
what even people think about it, that doesn't matter. It gives us a kind of relief and a good feeling. And we have been pregnant of these children, so we cannot ignore it that they exist.
Yeah,
Point.
yeah.
So
Uh,
yeah, and it would be good if people who haven't dealt with baby loss or miscarriage
mhm.
know what to do,
Yeah,
and that the taboo and that looking away and don't see what does it mean to have lost a baby, in your case 11 babies,
yeah.
that people should be a little bit more empathetic. No, empathetic, yes,
Mhm.
supportive, socialized, and don't look away, but go in interaction with you. You probably won't start crying, but if people say, "Oh wow, today is Frankie's birthday,"
Mhm.
it will warm up your heart, and your heart will be open, full of love, because
Yeah.
the love will remain forever.
Mhm. Absolutely. And e- even when after I lost him, I could be walking in town where I'd live, and people would see me not long afterwards, and they would literally cross the road, or they would just go. away and just avoid talking to me or
Yeah.
avoid, speaking to me, because of it. And I remember once I was, I think it was about 6 months after Frankie was born. I went to a conference near me. It was a local business conference, and I was working for British Telecom at the time, and we actually had a stand to promote a lot of what British Telecom was doing at an event before that. And I'd seen somebody when I was on the stand, and of course I'm quite heavily pregnant at this time. I saw him again 6 months later at a business conference, and he asked me about the baby because obviously last time he saw me I was heavily pregnant, um, and I told him, and I literally saw the color drain from his face. He just didn't know
What
what to
happened?
say or how to react to it, and so on. And I think platforms like this are so important,
Yeah.
because it does go under the radar. People don't talk about it. And you know what? Talking to you this morning, I'm absolutely, resolved now that if it ever comes up in conversation again, I'm not going to bat it away. I'm not going to, you know, try and make them feel more comfortable by saying, actually, no, I don't have any children, but it's fine because I've got my dog that keeps me busy. I mean, she does. I love my dog more than anything in the world. And
Oh, but for
it,
you love Frankie more, much more.
yeah, but
Yeah. I get
but
goosebumps everywhere now. So
yeah,
good for you,
yeah.
Lisa. Oh, I'm glad for you're going to do this.
But my dog, I do mean what I say about I do love her. So because if it wasn't for her, I would not be sat here talking to you now, because I've been through a lot of abuse. I've been through a lot of bullying. I've been through a lot of trauma, and that's just since I've lost. It's actually a common theme. It's been throughout my life,
Yeah.
but it's been a lot worse in the last years since Frankie. But if it wasn't for my poppy, I would not be sat here talking to you now, because I was suicidal from the way I was being treated. And I thought I had no other choice than to not
Yeah.
be here. And all I wanted to do was just find some way of ending it so I could be with Frankie. And Poppy saved me.
Yeah. Oh, I know, really understand these feelings. I also had these thoughts, not really doing it, but I thought it would be easy if I was with Tom or the year
Yeah,
later with
yeah,
Tim. But in the end, I'm so glad I didn't do. Otherwise, I couldn't have done what I'm doing now.
yeah.
In my human design, it says I am going to make a revolution.
Hmm.
And the revolution has started now with our talk,
Yeah.
international, worldwide. I will talk to many, many, many people, women or men, because men also suffer with the same pain, and for
Oh,
them
yeah.
it's also horrible.
Yeah.
But to give them a platform to talk about what they happened and to make some awareness that people who haven't dealt with this
Yeah.
do understand that it isn't away after 4 months. The
Hmm.
grief hasn't gone. For
Yeah.
Saturday, it's 12 year, and you'll miss Frankie every day. I'll
Hmm.
miss uh, my sons growing up as well. So it takes you for the rest of your life, and
Yeah.
we are okay with that.
Hmm.
But we have find our own way to deal with this,
Yeah.
and it would be great if people who haven't dealt with this are a little bit more. And now, you can fill in what you want to say.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, and we have Baby Loss Awareness Month
Yeah,
every October,
yeah,
and I do try to use that as a bit of a platform as well to raise some awareness around opening up that conversation with people, um, and letting them know that, it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to be authentic, and it's okay to say, I am still a mother. I might be an empty-armed mother because I don't have my children here with me,
yeah,
but I'm still a mother.
yeah.
And if I may, I've actually written. I write a lot of poetry, and I also write a lot of short stories and so on in my spare time as well. And I've got a little short poem that I hope encapsulates this, that I'd like to share.
Go ahead,
um,
please
and
do.
it's called it's just called empty-armed mother.
Mhm.
Am I or aren't I? Am I a mother or not? I did give birth, you see, but I have an empty cot. I carried my son inside me. For 33 weeks, I felt him grow. I couldn't wait for him to arrive. I loved him so very much. This is so. All the things we would do together. I would sing him songs and read to him. I would tell him about sci-fi and Star Wars. I would always go out on a limb to tell my son of the world we're in. I'd teach him to be good and kind. I want him to set an example and grow up knowing his own mind. But instead, I am an empty-armed mother. I am the one it happened to. No newborn to hold in my arms. No new life to care for. This is true. I am one of the 1 in 4 who loses their babies before they are born. I am the one whose arms are empty. I am the one who feels torn. I am an empty-armed mother. I have no children by my side.
Whoa. That is exactly what is happening when you have a baby born
Hmm.
sleeping.
Yeah.
This is what we miss.
Hmm.
Is there anything you want to say to people? What can make the lives of people who have dealt with miscarriage and baby loss, how they can be more supportive and be more kind, warm? What will help?
I think just acknowledging. So if somebody says to you that they've had a miscarriage or they've lost a child that was born sleeping, don't shy away from the conversation. Let them talk about those children. Let them acknowledge that those children existed. Don't cross the road if you see them, out to try and avoid what you think or potentially could be an uncomfortable, situation. you know, those children existed and they deserve to have those voices, recognized, and they deserve to be remembered and talked about.
Yes.
And again, another thing I'll say as well, going back to you're part of a club and you can check out anytime, but you can never leave. And I think acknowledge that. Um, I didn't think I would ever find a way, back, through it, or that I'd ever go on living, without my son. Um, and I've tried to sort of channel what I do, with my work, with everything I do, and it's all, for my son's, in my son's name and in my son's memory. So I just think, well, okay, he's not here, and I can't be the one that, brings him up, that nurtures him, and so on. So I've created this, and it does sometimes feel like this life that I'm in was not meant for me at all, that what I'm doing,
Yeah.
I should not be doing, that it's not the life that I should have had. It's not the life that was meant for me, but
Hmm.
it's the life I've got. And every single thing behind me, all the awards that I've got around there for the work I've done in cybersecurity, even the MBE on my shelf that I was presented with from our king, from King Charles the third,
Wow.
3 years ago. So I got to meet the king, and he presented me with my MBE. It's all for Frankie. Everything that I've done has all been in Frankie's memory. But I would chuck every single one of those out in an instant for a second with Frankie. I really
I
would.
understand. Do
Yeah.
you also feel that you live part of his life?
Yeah, I'd like to think so, but again, whatever he's into, whatever, things that he likes, I would nurture that. And the reason I say that is because, um, I grew up masking myself and masking my true interests and my true being, just to make sure that, my parents and everyone around me was happy, and not myself, if that makes sense. So, um I hid a lot of things. I masked a lot of things. I tried to, blend in. And as long as everybody else was happy, then I was happy. But actually, it was such an inauthentic way of being.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's what I would want for him. I would want him to be his true, unauthentic self, and I
Wow.
would nurture whatever that is, 100%.
Wow. Lisa, thank you so much for your openness, for your beautiful story about Frankie. Yeah, you see that it doesn't matter where you live, where you come from, if you've dealt with miscarriages or baby loss, and when you start talking to each other, it finds its way in immediately. It's such authentic talk this way, so pure, so from the heart. The love of our children will always remain. And well, thank you very much for sharing your story. It was my first podcast ever with someone abroad I don't know. So I was quite nervous, but I think I managed. And thank you, Lisa, for your support and helping me out. So
You more than managed. It was brilliant. Thank you.
thanks, Lisa.